Iran has enriched uranium up to 60% purity. This means Iran is much closer technically to weapons-grade uranium, which is just below weapons grade, which is 90%. This is raising global fears because no other non-nuclear weapon state has enriched uranium to this level before. Experts estimate that, with their current stockpile of 60% enriched uranium, Iran could enrich enough material for one nuclear bomb in a matter of a few weeks to a few months if they decided to. The big question that everyone is asking is, how did Iran do this without the world noticing? To answer this, let me give you a little bit of history. Under the 2015 nuclear deal called the Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action, a landmark agreement between Iran and 6 world powers, which are the United States, the United Kingdom, France, Germany, China, and Russia. Iran was only allowed to enrich uranium up to 3.67% purity, enough for civilian nuclear power but far from weapons grade. This agreement was signed in July 2015 and aimed to ensure that Iran's nuclear program would be exclusively peaceful. In exchange for Iran limiting its nuclear activities, the agreement provided sanctions relief for the country. However, President Donald Trump withdrew the United States from this agreement in May 2018, and Iran has since taken steps to reduce its compliance with the deal's terms, including resuming enriched uranium production. Another question we ask ourselves at this point is, why is Iran doing this? Iran states that the higher enrichment is for medical and research reactors and as leverage because the US exited the nuclear deal in 2018 and reimposed sanctions. This simple explanation has not fooled some world leaders and the United Nations' nuclear watchdog. They see it as a potential step toward weaponization. If Iran's real reason is weaponization, then we ask ourselves, what real reasons does Iran have to consider doing this? The first real reason is regime survival. Iran's leaders saw what happened to countries like Libya, when Libya gave up nuclear ambitions and then the regime fell. Iraq was invaded over allegations of weapons of mass destruction, including nuclear. Meanwhile, North Korea built nuclear weapons, and despite sanctions, its regime has survived. So for Iran, a nuclear capability is like an insurance policy. It deters foreign attacks, especially from the US or Israel. The second reason is to gain regional power. Iran wants to dominate the Middle East, and having nuclear weapons or even the capability would make it the top power over rivals like Saudi Arabia, Israel, and Turkey. This would give Iran more leverage in everything from oil politics to regional conflicts in Yemen, Syria, Iraq, and Lebanon. The third reason is to gain deterrence against Israel and the United States. Iran sees both Israel, which has nuclear weapons, and the US military bases around its borders as direct threats. A nuclear weapon, or being close to one, would make both countries think twice before striking Iran. Reason number 4 is breakout leverage. Even without building an actual bomb, just getting close to the so-called nuclear threshold gives Iran bargaining power. It can trade nuclear steps for sanctions relief, money, or political concessions. If Iran has all these benefits if she goes nuclear, then why is the process to get there causing so much anguish? Many countries do not want Iran to go nuclear and get the above-mentioned benefits. These countries are: first is Israel. Israel will not allow Iran to get nuclear weapons. It openly threatens military strikes, conducts Air Force drills simulating strikes on Iranian facilities, and allegedly conducts cyber attacks and covert operations like assassinations of nuclear scientists. Israel is also strengthening missile defense's Arrow 3 system. Second is the United States. The US is officially committed to preventing a nuclear-armed Iran. The US keeps military forces in the Gulf region. This includes aircraft carriers, bombers, and submarines. The US also conducts joint military exercises with Israel and Gulf allies. The US also sanctions Iran and puts diplomatic pressure on the UN and its allies. Third is Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia says if Iran gets a bomb, they will pursue one too. This is a nuclear arms race threat. Saudi Arabia is strengthening ties with China, Pakistan, and countries with nuclear tech. It is also expanding missile programs and quietly cooperating with Israel on counter-Iran intelligence. Lastly, the European powers UK, France, and Germany are strongly against Iran's nuclear escalation, but prefer diplomacy. They are pushing for snapback sanctions. They are also having discussions on possible Plan B if diplomacy fails. In conclusion, Iran is in deep anguish and hesitation about fully weaponizing its nuclear program. Actually building a bomb could trigger military strikes, even war, and crush Iran's already weak economy with even harsher sanctions. The US has set a 2-month deadline for Iran to enter a new nuclear deal negotiation. There is a possibility that if Iran fails to negotiate, the US may consider various options including military action or imposing sanctions. The US is considering bombing Iran's underground nuclear sites with the GBU-57A/B MOP, which is a massive 30,000-pound bomb carried by large bombers like the B-2 Spirit and can penetrate deeply into reinforced concrete. Iran's citizens already face poverty, isolation and unrest. Full nuclear weaponization could make life even worse through total international isolation. So Iran is trapped between a desire for power and fear of destruction. That's why they move carefully, pushing forward but stopping short of making an actual bomb, at least so far. Thanks for watching. Please like, share and hit the subscribe button for more videos like this.